Alright, so Solar Raid Massive Object Challenge mode. This boss is a nice breath of fresh air after the very difficult Solar Raid on Mirror Container. Unlike before, this Solar Raid has a bit of lax requirement to survive the whole run, and it has simple mechanics to go through. However, this boss still has its quirks, and I'll get to that in a bit. On top of that, the UI is very distracting. I feel that it has a very poor visual clarity, which I feel Shift Up has been doing bad lately, especially with like Mirror Container Solar Raid as well. But anyways, here's some main takeaways for this boss. First, the boss spawns with a shield that needs to be destroyed before we can do some real damage that gets counted. At the beginning of the fight, if you have your damage numbers turned on, you will see that your damage starts as purple text color. This means that you're hitting the shield and can't do projectile or shooting damage on the boss until you destroy the shield. Some skills may still register as damage like Scarlet Backshadow skill 1, which directly targets the boss, but the boss will take reduced damage. Pierce also does hit through the shield. And this is where the gimmick from the Evac characters come in. They have a buff that increases damage dealt to shield, so spreading out the Eva Collab characters to different teams is making the best use for them, as they would speed up destroying the shield for your other teams and you can deal more damage to the boss faster. The boss also has a core that can only be hit by Pierce. This respawns after every major QTE when the boss disappears and shows these red cross QTEs. Depending on your strength, it might be bad to stack too many Pierce units together to take advantage of the bonus damage from Pierce hitting the core, because if you can destroy it before it changes phase with just one Pierce unit, then the other Pierce unit could have been benefiting more with the other team instead. So in terms of boss mechanics, it has very straightforward ones. By the way, did you know that 57% of you are still not subscribed? Make sure to click that subscribe button now and ring that bell for notification. Come join us and hang out with the rest of the boys. Anyways, back to the video. In terms of boss mechanics, first is the miniguns. It does where it targets the highest attack unit. You can take advantage of this if you know the order of the attacks, if you want to juggle who's going to get hit by this attack. The second is the telegraph laser, where it indicates the bottom of your screen who's going to get hit. If you fail to cover this, you'll take a huge chunk of damage. It's recommended to cover this so you don't lose a lot of HP. After this is the AOE attack, and the boss just starts shooting everyone in the team. You can cover this damage though, and it's crucial if you ever decide to do no healer runs. After the AOE attack is the boss spawns these cubes that slowly goes towards the team, but you can destroy them. You can take advantage of some of the unit skills like Mary's Burst or Ray's Burst to instantly destroy these cubes. The next are the different QTEs that this boss has. There's 3 different ones, and 2 of them you can actually survive even if you fail them. The first one is the left and right QTE that doesn't really do much. The good use for this QTE is to either delay doing it or quickly do it so that your timeline for your burst rotation could end up working out, or perhaps you use it to buy some time for your heals. The second one is the phase change QTE, where the boss will disappear and start giving out these cross-shaped red circles surrounded by white fail circles. Be careful when using units that are rocket launchers, shotguns, or pierce units, as they could end up messing up your shooting. It is recommended to go cover the team if you are in full burst so that you don't accidentally hit the fail circle. Failing this QTE is basically instant wipe and the run ends. Another tip for this is there's an indicator of where the middle of the red circles will spawn, so you can preemptively move your cursor where it spawns, and this is especially useful, especially if you're using machine guns. The third one is the Elemental Shield QTE, and you do need the fire unit to do this QTE. However, if you don't, that's actually okay, and as long as you have a healer, you can survive through it. The shotgun team is popular without fire unit because most people have invested in maid privity instead of Drake. And yeah, those are basically the main mechanics of the boss, and very straightforward. You can check the link for the raid guide, as I have listed the order of the mechanics there, and it might help you figure out what to do next. Overall, there's nothing much complicated to this boss, especially if you actually bring in a healer. The fight just ends up being super simple. The biggest thing about this is building the synergy that is appropriate for your account, because of the different combinations will give different results depending on which units you have invested the most. Do you spread out your DPS across different teams, or do you try to pull all the top tier units alongside together with their ideal buffer? Are you willing to do no healer runs for your team 4 or team 5? For example, the combination combination that's the most common is Crown and Alice with Scarlet Black Shadow, but their support varies. Some people decide to use Dorothy, and some people decide to use Litter or the Killer Wife. An account with more balanced investments across the board could use Dorothy in this team and then decide to use Ray and Modernia into the Bunnies team. Meanwhile, some people with heavy investment in Alice and Modernia with high elemental overloads could decide to use Litter or Crown together with Alice and Modernia. So the Crown team will vary depending on your team's investments. The next most consistent team I've seen is the Bunnies team. With Ray and Modernia together that synergize well with Litter's ammo increase, Noir's ammo replenish, and Blank's damage taken increase, a lot of people seem to be opting also with this combination. Some people do decide to use the shotgun team with the Bunnies also. The T and Naga, typically people do use their Asuka here, so Asuka gets the shield which will give her elemental damage bonus. Since Crown is likely taking in Alice, and I would say generally speaking Alice can handle destroying the shield fast herself, it would be redundant to have Asuka alongside that team. The other burst tree is pretty much a variant. If you have a decent Asuka, you could use a burst tree buffer like Maxwell or Winter Ludmilla. The next is Mari or Rosanna teams. They're basically similar in terms of functionality for this raid, and basically a burst 2 for a team 4 or team 5. So this is where people are likely just going to explore the no healer runs if they can, but where not, you can always plug in a healer if you don't want to, and it does trivialize the rest of the run. The next one is the shotgun team, and since people have found that you can survive the elemental shield QTE, people have defaulted to using the shotgun team with Bunny Alice as the healer because they have made previously invested instead of Drake. However, if you do find that your Drake has some good elemental rolls, you could try using Drake instead. There's also the leftover 2B team, and it seems to be performing solid for other people using Helm as a healer and 2B and Drunk Scarlet as DPS. Some people are also using Snow White, and they seem to have been putting her into the Mari team. That's something worth checking out if you are starting to run out of DPS to use. But yeah, as usual, I'll be updating this raid comp sheet if I find more, and I have added my notes there for the different teams. Anyways, that's about it for this boss for now. Make sure to smash that like button like you smashed this solo raid, comment harder than what I did to your mom last night, and I'll see you guys next time.